What's the difference between a process and an SOP? A process is what needs to happen. It's the big picture steps, whereas an SOP is the how to do each step, essentially a detailed instruction. For example, your process might say, onboard new clients, whereas your SOP will say, step 1, open the new CRM, click new client, enter the name in the first field, select the industry from the drop-down menu. Essentially, a process is the roadmap, whereas an SOP are the turn-by-turn directions. Now, here's why this simple distinction is critical for your business, because most business owners think that having one means that they have the other, and they don't. And this confusion is often costing you more than you realize. I've worked with hundreds of businesses, and the ones that are stuck in organizational and operational chaos, working 60-hour weeks, constantly answering the same questions, and watching new hires struggle for months, they're the ones missing this fundamental relationship between the two. But businesses that get this right, they reduce onboarding time by 80%. That eliminates up to 90% of those repetitive questions that just drain your life energy every single day. So if you're tired of being stuck in your business, stick around, because we're going to deep dive into exactly why you need both and also how they work together. This is the exact same system that is helping hundreds of business owners finally break free from the operational chaos. So let's start by diving deep into processes. A process is essentially your 30,000-foot view. It is the big picture of how work flows through your business. Think of it almost like a GPS route from point A to point B. It's pretty much telling you the major milestones, but not every single turn within that. Now, here is a real example. Your client onboarding process might look like this. You might have your initial consultation, then you have the proposal creation, then you might move into contract and signing, then you have a welcome package for the client, then you might have your kickoff meeting. And these steps will constitute your process. But this is where most business owners mess up, because they map out these 5 steps, they put it into a document and think, great, I've systemized my business. But really, that's like having a recipe that says make pasta without actually telling you how to boil the water, how long to cook the pasta for, or what temperature you should cook it on. Now, what a proper process actually gives you is clarity and alignment. When your entire team understands the flow, you can spot the bottleneck, eliminate redundancies, and improve the results. But, and this is crucial, processes alone won't tell anybody how to do the work. And that is where your SOPs come in. This is the most important part that most businesses are missing. Your SOPs, or your standard operating procedures, are essentially those step-by-step instruction manuals. They're detailed how-to guides that turn your high-level processes into executionable actions. Now, remember that send welcome package step from our previous process? Here's what the SOP might look like for that. We might say log into the CRM, navigate to the client's profile, select new client welcome email template, customize the greeting with their name and the project details, attach the welcome packet PDF, schedule the email to send within 2 hours of the contract signing, and then update the client status to onboarding welcome sent. See the difference? The process told you what to do, and the SOP tells you exactly how to do it. But here's where I see most businesses failing with their SOPs. They either make them so vague that they're useless, like saying handle client appropriately, or so complicated that nobody reads them. I've literally seen 50-page PDFs that just sit in a shared drive somewhere. The sweet spot for an SOP is that they're detailed enough for consistent execution, but they're just really simple that your team can actually use them. Now, when you get your SOP right, you really unlock consistency and scalability across the business. Every task gets done the same way, every time, regardless of who's doing it. And that just means that your clients have really consistent experiences, you have predictable outcomes, and the ability to delegate or do holiday cover just is so easy with you having full confidence. Now, here's a critical relationship between processes and SOPs that changes everything. We know that processes give you the what and the why, and SOPs give you the how. And we also know that you can't have one without the other. A process without an SOP is like that wish list with no execution plan. It's like having that business strategy with no tactics. SOPs without clear processes are just random instructions with no strategic context, like having a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle with no picture in the box. So let me show you how this works in practice with a dental office that we've recently helped. Their processes for new patient onboarding were to schedule initial consultation, collect patient information, perform examination, develop treatment plan, schedule follow-up appointments, and then process the insurance. Their SOP for step 1, which was to schedule the initial consultation, said, open the Dentrix Care and click New Appointment. Ask for patient's full name, phone number, email, and chief concern. Check Dr. Smith's availability within the next 5 days. Select 60-minute time slot for new patient exam. Send confirmation text with template 3. Email new patient forms using first visit automation. Add the patient to the CRM with status new scheduled, and then set calendar reminder to call 24 hours before the confirmation. Now, this process showed them what they needed to happen, and the SOP showed them exactly how to make that happen. And what's excellent about this is it can be consistent every time, and it's then easier for you to work on the business, decide if a process should be changed, or in fact, if you can just tweak a procedure to get a better outcome. Now, this dentist that we were working with went from taking 3 weeks to fully onboard new patients to just 5 days. Simply getting this relationship right meant that their clients had an amazing experience and they weren't going back and forth in different forms, speaking to different people. So how do you actually implement this in your business? Here is the exact approach that we use when we work with our clients here in Waybook. The first step is that we map out all of your core processes. Focus on the main 5 to 7 key workflows that drive business results. Now, you don't have to document everything at once because that's overwhelming and usually leads to a bit of failure. So really focus on the key things that drive business results. Step 2 is to prioritize which processes need your SOPs first. So first you can look at areas where you're seeing mistakes, inconsistencies, or where you're planning to delegate or introduce somebody new to the team. These are really your highest impact opportunities. Step 3 is to create SOPs that people actually want to use, that is valuable to them. So of course we want to include screenshots, perhaps videos, or giving real examples so people can really see how this works in the real world. You also want to try and make them searchable and as accessible as possible, because if your team can't find the information that they need in less than 30 seconds, then your SOP system isn't working because they're probably just asked the nearest person to them within the business. And step 4 is then to test everything. Have someone who's never done that task before follow the SOPs exactly. If they can't get it right the first time, then it's more often than not the SOP needs work. This testing phase is really crucial, and it's where you discover the gaps between what you think is documented and actually what works in practice. And then the final step is to create a review cycle. So your processes and SOPs should really evolve as your business grows. You can set quarterly or monthly reviews to just make sure things are working and everything is up to date. The results really do speak for themselves. We've had companies reduce onboarding time by 80% and eliminate all of that repetitive management and question across teams. But look, if you're feeling overwhelmed by your business operations, then you're really not the only one. Most successful business owners go through this exact struggle. The difference between those who break free and those who stay trapped is understanding that a systematization isn't just about documentation, it's about creating the right relationship between your high-level processes and your detailed procedures, and of course making them accessible to the team. When you get this right, you don't just save time, you reduce mistakes, you create a business that can truly run without you being constantly involved in every decision, and your life becomes much, much easier. If you found this valuable, please feel free to like and subscribe for more videos on business systems and operations that will help you build a company that works for you instead of the other way around. And if you're ready to take this to the next level and want to have some help building the complete business playbook with all of your training, all of your processes, all of your procedures in one organized system, then check out Waybook to create a single source of truth for your team, enabling you to help focus on the business rather than being trapped inside of it. For more on systemizing the business, check out this video on how to create a business playbook for your team. Thanks once again for watching, and until next time, I hope you enjoy some smooth scaling.